Hey guys, so in the previous video we actually talked about building a web scraper from scratch. So using things like robots.txt, sitemaps, and understanding how websites expose their structure where we then scrape each of these pages, right? So that approach is actually great for learning, but in real projects, right, you would want to use something like Apify, right? So Apify is basically a platform that gives you ready-made scraping environments. So you can use its scraper to scrape TikTok, Google Maps, Instagram, or whatever other actors that they have, right? Actors meaning web scrapers. So in that sense, you don't have to build out a scraper particularly for TikTok, another one for Google Maps. You can straight away just use their APIs. So in this video, I'll just go through how you can set this up for yourself, and also how you can build one scraper for yourself, right? This Google Maps scraper that I've built before this video. So this all may seem a bit daunting, right? First, you can just go to console and create an account, right? It can seem a little bit daunting for non-technical people. So firstly, after you've gotten into your console, right, it can seem a little bit daunting, right? Especially for non-technical people, right? Because you can see all this actor runs, all this, and you don't really know what it means. But actors in general just means web scrapers, right? The bots, right? So you can just head over to Apify store and you can select the actors that you want, right? So for the Google Maps scraper that I've used, I can just basically use their API to search Google Maps, right? So I'll be using their API to search Google Maps for locations and businesses where I can get their reviews, their images, their contact details, right? All of this, and put it all into a Google Sheet, right? So something like this here, right? Where we can see their business, right? Their address, locations, their email, their website, contact details, and their ratings, right? The rating, overall rating, and the number of ratings. And even we can get information like whether or not they have a restroom, they accept debit card or not, and whether or not an appointment is required, right? So this is all done through this scraper that I put right here, right? So I just have to, for example, just have to put let's say daycare centers, right? Daycare centers. Location, I'll put Taling Jaya, Malaysia, right? This is the number of places I want to extract. So I just want to keep this a rather small search. So I'll just extract 5 different places, right? So you just run. Now it will search through the API. Then you'll put it into the Google Sheets. So yeah, now that it's completed, we can just head over to Google Sheets to check it. Right, so 5 of this, right? 5 of these daycare centers, their location, as well as their contact details and their websites, right? And now that the information is in this Google Sheet, we can now use this information to search for more details about their business or their website, for example, right? So this would be useful for, so say, SEO experts, agencies, consultants preparing to audit their clients, or even doing market research for the competitors, for example, right? So in this video, I'll be creating another scraper, right, where we'll be building a web scraper where we'll go through these websites, right? So to start, just head over to console, right, or can create your account by using a Google login. So you can head over to actors, right, go to store and select the web scraper that you would want to use. So based on my previous experience, right, I've gotten better results using this Apify scraper, right, website content crawler, compared to the other ones, right, compared to the other famous one. So this is also rather famous, this web scraper, also by Apify, but I've gotten better results using this. So in this case, we'll be heading over here, right? You can head over to API endpoints, and we'll be copying this endpoint, right? So run actors synchronously and get dataset items. So this will be your access token, right? So in any case, try not to show this to anyone else, but for this video, since it's just a demo account, so it doesn't really matter if I show it to you guys. So let's head over here, right? We also need a trigger form, right? Another trigger form. So we can have this as a web scraper demo. add a form element URL, right? Because we want to capture this URL. So let me just use this. Right, yeah. Yep. Okay. Right. So next we need to create the HTTP request for us to put the URL that we've copied earlier, right? So we just this one, right? API endpoints, and copy this. Right. Paste it. Then we need to send body using JSON. Right. Now head back over to AP5. So here we need to. It doesn't really matter. Just change it to JSON. Copy this, and we just paste the whole thing in. So that here the URL. We just need to drag this. Drop it here, right, and drop it here. There we go. Right, so it will replace the early URL with the URL that we are trying to search for, to scrape for, right? So just execute. Now we just need to wait and let it run. Right. So you can also check the runs in AP5 itself, where it's running, right? See the usage is just 7 cents, and this is, since this is a free account, we get $5 worth of usage and 8 GB of RAM. Right. So in the next step, we actually need to store the record somewhere, right? Previously, I've used it using a Google Sheet. Right? In this case, I can also use Airtable, right? Which is pretty good as well. So create a record. And we need to create a new table for it, right? So I already have a table called web scraper here, right? And yeah, we've already gotten the results. As you can see, you can get their title, the description, all the way to their text, their markdown text, right? Which is what we want. So next would be just, after we get all the information we want, now we just need to put it into NAN, right? So list. And this is the so this will be the name of the base that you want to use. This will be the table, right? So I'm going to use the web scraper table, and now we have to map each of this column, right? So now we can just easily just drag and drop this URL. Because we'll be getting 5 items, so we need to populate. We'll be populating 5 different lines here, right? So URL. So we'll populate title, description, website text. Here, no text. Right. Yeah, that's about it. So that was the first website. The second one as well, this is the instructor. So this would also be populating here as a separate entry, right? It's a separate entry. Right? So this would be other things that we'll need after we clean up the data, right? So just execute step. We populate the markdown text as well, right? Of each of these websites, right? So each of this website will have all of this data inside. So the next step, we actually need to put this into just let ChatGPT just compile and tell us, So next step, we actually just pass all of this data into ChatGPT, right? Or OpenAI or any DeepSeek or any other LM that you want to use, right? So this is where things get really powerful, where we pass this scraped content, right, into AI, right? Any other LM that you prefer, right? And ask questions like, what does this business actually do, right? What are they targeting? What's their main selling point, right? How's their messaging like, right? So that whether or not you're a consultant, you're doing your own market research, competitor analysis, you can use this to actually just compare depending on who you're searching for, right? So you can just hit over here and choose the model that you want to use. I'll just be using the cheapest one, which is 5 nano, right? And we'll have the prompt, and most importantly, we'll need to have a output format, right? Output format. Yeah. Schema, JSON schema. Just set it as low, and here, right? I'll be including this in a link down below the description so that you can copy and paste this, right? Right. So I'll be including all the prompts as well as the output format inside the description later. Right. So now if we do pass this into the OpenAI model, right, it will give me 5 different outputs, right, which is not really what I want because I want it all in one answer only, right? So remember there were 5 entries here, right? So we're just gonna merge all of the markdown text together, right? So I can just put aggregate, use aggregate. We'll be inputting the markdown text, right? Because we want to merge all of this text together. Just execute it. Now we get just one item instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we'll be getting all of this and we'll be throwing all this inside this OpenAI model. There we go. So just drag and drop it in here, right? And you can see this is the script content, right? Which is the markdown text that we wanted. All of it in here. Now let's just let it run. Right, so once it's completed, as you can see here, we can see the brand name, the tagline, the call to action, right? The core sections, value propositions, what are their services, the processes, right? Benefits of their service, as well as their pricing model, right? So after this, we just need to pass this on back into this table, right? Back into this table. So we'll be populating the fields such as brand name, tagline, all of this. So Airtable in. So right now we'll be creating or updating a record. So same, now we just need to choose back the demo. Scraper. Now we'll be matching it based on the URL, right? Which is this URL, initial URL. There we go. So we're matching it based on this field, right? And this was the initial URL that we used. So we're gonna populate all these fields for this entry. Now we just need to drag and drop all of this remaining data, right? For example, the brand name, right? Brand name, tagline, etc. Right, now that you have put in everything already, so you just need to execute step. Right. Just hit back to the table and you can see it's populated all of it. So you can go one step further and actually make this easier to see by just creating an interface for it. So for example, something like this, where you can see all of their data, right? For example, and you can just say edit this to include the brand name, tagline, their pricing details, all of this. And this will be very useful for SEO experts, right? Doing competitor analysis, consultants preparing audit for clients, agencies doing market research, for example. You can get their pricing details, what are the benefits, what are the guarantees that they provide for their customers, etc. So you can actually go one step further by actually connecting this Google Map scraper all the way into this web scraper, right? So you can straight away find out the businesses in your area and automatically research their website, right? And give you what are their services, etc., and their pricing model, all through this one workflow, right? So with just 2 Apify scrapers, you're actually able to, build a pipeline, right? All the way from discovery to getting the data and also getting an insight on what these businesses provide. So yeah, that's about it, right? So in this video, I've showed you how you can actually connect to the Apify scrapers, right? The Apify actors, right? And also how you can use it and populate it inside of Airtable into an interface as well. So if this was helpful, right, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and yeah, if you like more practical builds like this, right, do comment below on what you like to see, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.